I am, I am convinced we are in the dumbest timeline. I'm starting to believe the Marvel theory of the multiverse. I'm starting to buy in. The reason is because I believe not only are we in the dumbest timeline, but it seems so dumb that it's starting to feel purposeful to me. Like somebody did this on purpose. Like it was architected this way. We are so ludicrous. We are so ridiculous. And I think there's a utopian timeline, the opposite of our timeline, to juxtapose our timeline. I think there's another timeline that's the opposite of ours. Like a utopia. I'm going to call them the utopians. I hate the utopians. I'm jealous. I'm jealous of the utopians. I want to be, they're over there living their best life. They got JFK. I'm going to say over there in the utopian timeline, JFK didn't die. I'm going to say JFK didn't die, right? Had a great presidency. I'm going to say Robert became president after him, right? I'm going to say Robert became president right after him in the utopian timeline.
Did Ted still drive off of a bridge?
No, Ted and Mary Jo Kopechne, they made it over the bridge successfully, Scott. And Ted Kennedy's career survived and it thrived. And he became president after Robert sometime down the road. Three Kennedys, a legacy. A Kennedy presidential legacy of greatness was had on the utopian timeline, Scott.
What about RFK Jr.?
No, RFK Jr. opened a wildlife nature preserve specifically for bears. Yeah, and he's a warrior for whales. He's out there on the beach with his shirt off, ripped, his throat's perfectly working, his voice is like molasses pouring down your ear, and he's got like weapons that he's tossing into the sea to protect whales. And John became president in their timeline, Scotty. His plane didn't go down.
So 4 Kennedys president.
4 Kennedys.
What a timeline.
That's what the utopians enjoyed. The utopians enjoyed 4 Kennedy presidencies, and I want to trade Trump and the cult for John. Can we do that? Just bring him in. It'll fix our timeline, and it will bleep up the utopians' timeline. I'm a hater. I hate them. We are definitely on the dumbest timeline. No doubt. Fox News, hard-hitting reporting, bigly, strongly news out of our president. And what are they talking about? Well, they're not talking about Epstein, and they're hoping you're not either. They're not talking about the failed war. They're not talking about the failed tariffs. They're not talking about a $38 trillion debt. They're not talking about American civilians being shot by ICE. They're not talking about any of that. They're not talking about the Voting Rights Act. They're not talking about any of that. What are they talking about? They're talking about aliens. Aliens. Oh, yeah. We're going to get full transparency on the aliens. Please stop talking about any of that, says President Trump. We got aliens for you. Yeah. Now, when Obama talked about aliens, he should have been arrested for that. He was disclosing classified information. When Obama did it, it was bad. Now Trump's doing it, and it's bigly, strongly, quickly, and legal because he is granting full transparency, not on the pedophiles of the Epstein file. Nope. He's doing a full exposure of the alien situation. And he's here to tell you there are aliens. There are aliens. And he's releasing video, and he's releasing audio. I mean, he really wants you to stop talking about the war, and he really wants you to stop talking about Epstein. And here's the thing, and Scott, I think you could agree. We don't care. We have been shown video and had testimony and all these people that have been inside the bunkers, and we have been told for quite some time now that hearing with the Air Force commanders and all these people in the Air Force, like, yeah, I saw an alien. I saw an alien. They have an alien body. Multiple people. We don't care. Apparently, we don't care. Apparently, nobody cares that there's aliens. All right, so we got new evidence. We got new evidence. Trump says the latest UAP videos, photos, and original source documents from across the entire United States are all in one place. Come here to get them. Stop talking about Epstein. Come get your UFO evidence. No clearance required, baby. While past administrations sought to discredit or I added the baby. While past administrations sought to discredit or dissuade the American people, President Trump is focused on providing maximum transparency to the public about aliens, not about pedophiles and the Epstein files, but about aliens who can ultimately make up their minds about the information contained in these files. Okay, so he's saying, hey, we got aliens for you, and we're going to show you our aliens. All right, let's see what they got for us, Scotty. I want to see what they got for us. What's first up? Because I really don't know what the big deal is about. All right, that's from the moon. You see those three little dots there? Now, they apparently also have audio from Buzz Aldrin, was it? And some other astronauts at the time that they were transmitting back to command about what they were seeing, those three little dots. I don't know what the fuss is about. Those three little dots, that's a dimensional nexus. I mean, no big deal there. Dimensional beings and creatures, maybe celestial creatures, can come through there. Not even a talking point. What else we got? What else you got for me, Scotty? What are you talking about? That little dot? That's a snitch. That's from Harry Potter. You got to fly around on your broom like the best broom flyer flies around. If he catches that, the Quidditch match is over. What do you got next for me, bro? Why is this even news? That's a snitch. Or maybe it's a sneech. I don't remember. I'm not a big Harry Potter guy. What do you got for me? What else you got for me? Space slug. Next. Come on. What are you bringing me? Space slug. Done. It's a space slug. We know it. What else you got? What else you got for me? Okay. I know an angel when I see one. Hello. I mean, we've been told for years. That's an angel. It's very pretty. What are we even doing here? All of these are easily explainable. I don't even know why this is news. I don't even know why this is news. And just FYI, Trump, we don't care, apparently. I guess until the day, right, Scott, like, will you care about any of this up to the point, like, it'll take them actually coming down a ramp like we've seen in the movies and wanting to talk to our leaders, right? That's when will you care then? Will you even care then? Will you care then?
I mean, I already do care, but most people don't care.
I don't care.
I do. I think it's pretty cool that like, look here. They're at least saying, look, there's something there. We don't know what there is. I think it's a distraction piece. I think it's like, why are we even hiding this? Everybody already seen. I mean, what they released today is already, a lot of it's already been out there. They're just confirming. They're just confirming things
Trump's
that have
just
been
saying,
out there.
come and get it. Come and get it.
And yeah, it's crazy to me that our government can admit that we have these things and nobody cares. Like,
and admit they've been lying about it to us for so long.
And there's just so many other things going on, and we've been lied to about so many other things, and we're conditioned to be lied to. We're just like,
we've been lying to you for 75 years.
Yeah. So
Thanks, Trump.
So why is gas almost $5?
Yeah, exactly. That's nice. So what's the price of gas again? I don't think I'll care until they come down and like zap Chipotle and my weed dealer's house. I think then I'll care. That'll make me care. If they come down and abduct Daniel Day-Lewis, I'll care. I don't. All right. Nobody cares. What does Kash Patel have to say about all this alien business? Kash Patel. What does Kash say? Kash says, the FBI is proud to stand alongside the president and our it's a to mistype typo here. Stand alongside our president and our interagency partners in this landmark release of UAP records. For the first time in history, the American people have unfettered access, blah, 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 blah. There's aliens. Kash Patel. Kash Patel. Every time Kash Patel gets out in front of a camera, it's like a clown getting out of a clown car to be a buffoon and just engage upon clownish activities and say clownish things. He's a clown. So, of course, the clown's going to come out and say something about aliens. That's right there in his wheelhouse. The land of the ridiculous. But Kash Patel. This clown is engaged upon more serious matters, however. This clown, who was exposed as the clown he was by one Sarah Fitzpatrick. Sarah Fitzpatrick of The Atlantic. It was my absolute pleasure to bring you that story about Kash Patel being drunk everywhere. Drunk on planes, drunk in bars, shouting at the top of bars. So drunk that FBI security detail goes knocking on his door one morning. No answer. Calls, no answer. They thought he might be dead. They bashed in the door. He was in a drunken coma. You know, that hit piece. That piece. Sarah Fitzpatrick, I'm starting to really enjoy this young lady's work. And she worked for The Atlantic. So Kash Patel sues The Atlantic over her reporting. $250 million sues The Atlantic. The Atlantic is standing by the reporter. Now, the FBI has opened a criminal leak investigation against the journalist Sarah Fitzpatrick. That's right. Here we go again. We did a story just like this a few months ago about a reporter who did a story that was a real damaging hit piece about the inner workings of the U.S. raid in Venezuela, taking out Maduro. Another journalist had done a report on that, and she ended up the target of the FBI. Now, here we go again. This is an investigation into Sarah Fitzpatrick over the piece she wrote describing what a clown Kash Patel is and how drunk he is all the time. An investigation by the FBI. And here's the thing. It's an investigation that the FBI is not going to talk about. They're going to lie about it. Now, two people within the FBI that know specifically about this investigation because they are a part of it, leaked to MS Now, two people who are a part of an investigation into a journalist that the FBI denies is having. Those two people went to MS Now to tell MS Now they are investigating her. Regardless of what Bill Williamson, who's the FBI spokesman, and now this guy, you're going to hear from him a lot today. This guy's the guy that has to go out and wipe off the clown makeup off of Kash's face. Every time he does something clownish, he comes in behind as the spokesperson and tries to wipe the makeup off. It's pathetic. What are you doing with your life, Bill? Following this clown around, cleaning up his messes. But, here they go again. Now, it's important to understand Sarah has an investigation into her. And in this investigation is highly unusual and unethical. Even the two FBI agents who talked to MS Now said that the so-called insider threat investigation is highly unusual because it did not stem from a disclosure of classified information and because it focused on a reporter. One, we have no leak. We have no whistleblower. We have nobody telling us that she did anything illegal. And two, you're investigating a journalist. That's kind of a big no-no, with free speech and the First Amendment and all. It's actually against the law. And the editor-in-chief in The Atlantic calls them out for it. But you got to understand it's an investigation. Unlike the last FBI maneuver on the journalist, that was a seizure. This is an investigation, not a seizure. So what can they do? They can run her phone records. They're going to run her name and her information through FBI and DHS databases. They're going to go through her social media. They're going to go through her contacts. This kind of investigation. Okay? Now, the FBI agents assigned to this matter, assigned to conduct the investigation, said there is deep concern amongst all the FBI agents assigned to this. Deep concern. Their quote, they know they are not supposed to do this, but if they don't go forward, they could lose their jobs. You're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. What does the FBI say? What does Mr. Williamson say? Ben Williamson? Did I say Bill earlier? Ben. What does Ben Williamson say? The FBI spokesman? He said, this is completely false. No such investigation like this exists. And the reporter you mentioned is not being investigated at all. Meanwhile, two FBI agents are telling you, we are currently working on the investigation into Sarah Fitzpatrick. If the FBI would like to call this untrue, and they truly believe that, they can go ahead with another lawsuit against, this time, MS Now. They have been getting shot down lawsuit after lawsuit. Most recently, a Washington Post lawsuit got shot down. The lawsuit involving the birthday letter May every day be a wonderful secret. Yeah, Trump sued over that, and it was a big win for Republicans at the time. Yay, Trump's a truth teller, and the Washington Post they're liars. Well, turns out a judge decided they weren't lying. All the corroboration was presented. The lawsuit failed. The Atlantic lawsuit by Kash Patel will fail, and any lawsuit they decide to bring against MS Now over this reporting will fail. Let's get that straight. Now, the Atlantic's editor-in-chief, like I said, made a statement, and it's important what this person says. His name's Jeffrey Goldberg, and he said this. He said this: "We will have further comment when we learn more. We will have further comment when we learn more. If true, this would be an outrageous, illegal, and dangerous attack on free press and the First Amendment. We will defend Sarah and all of our reporters who are subjected to government harassment simply for pursuing the truth." First of all, great. Wonderful job, Jeffrey. That's how you do it. That's how you respond to this kind of pressure from the government. Well done. And well done in your staunch defense of her. But what you said here, Jeffrey, if true, this would be an outrageous, illegal, and dangerous attack. What are you talking about illegal? Are you sure illegal, Jeffrey? It's quite a charge. It's going to be my pleasure to get into what Jeffrey's talking about. Mr. Goldberg here, the editor-in-chief of The Atlantic, and just Sarah Fitzpatrick. I'm really becoming a fan, I got to be honest.
It's time for a quick break, then we break some more. You're listening to Brett Breaks Things. You're back with Brett Breaks Things, where the truth hits harder than the headlines.
Okay, so the FBI has opened an investigation against Sarah Fitzpatrick, reporter of The Atlantic, who exposed him as a drunken clown. 2 FBI agents who are currently working on that investigation went and spoke to MS Now. In a response, Atlantic's editor-in-chief, Jeffrey Goldberg, he said these actions, if true, were illegal. What's he talking about? He's talking about the Privacy Protection Act of 1980. That's what he's talking about. Search and seizure of a reporter without any evidence that, or them being suspected of any crime, it's illegal. You can't do it. If they aren't suspected themselves, and you haven't clearly stated what they're suspected of, you can't do it. You can't just start investigating and seizing reporters' belongings because you want to find out if they did something wrong down the line. Privacy Protection Act of 1980. And there were DOJ guidelines about just this type of action right here. And they were set, our most recent version of the DOJ guidelines, in concerns to investigating and or search and seizure of a reporter. Garland set the new standards in 2021. Merrick Garland, he issued a directive that prohibited federal prosecutors from seizing journalists' records and investigating them unless it's extraordinary circumstances. After his directives, you had to go through the AG himself or herself to get to be allowed to begin investigating a journalist or search their apartment or seize any of their belongings. You had to go straight through the AG themselves, okay? Now, investigating for years in the DOJ, investigating leakers, that's one thing. You can investigate leakers all the livelong day. But investigating the ones who report the leaks, the journalists, that was a no-no. It's always been a no-no in the DOJ. They've only been brought in for witnesses. Like, we're going to make you be a witness in our prosecution against this leaker. You got to come in and be a witness. That's the farthest they go. These guidelines were set by Merrick Garland in 2021, and at the time, listen to what Merrick said at the time. Listen to how far we are from an actual functioning DOJ. Listen to, at the time, Merrick Garland. Ready? These regulations recognize the crucial role that a free and independent press plays in our democracy. Not fake news media, radicalized woke left media. No. free and independent press, because freedom of the press requires that members of the news media have the freedom to investigate and report the news. The new regulations are intended to provide enhanced protection to members of the news media from certain law enforcement tools like FBI investigations and actions that might unreasonably impair their news gathering. That's what our DOJ used to sound like. That's what it used to sound like. And what was one of the first things Pam did when she was installed as AG in Trump's second term? One of the first things, we're talking within a couple months, she disbanded all of Merrick Garland's restrictions on investigating reporters, searching their property, seizing their property. First thing she did. Repealed all of it. Pam did. Repealed it all. She dramatically lowered the standards it would take to investigate reporters. And even at the time she said, reporters' testimony and records through subpoenas and search warrants was a technique, quote, to be deployed as a last resort. That's what Pam even said as she repealed all the Garland guidelines. She even said it should be a last resort. Well, it's the first resort for Kash. The report comes out last week. She's being investigated 7 days later. Even sooner. We're not sure exactly when it began. It was the first thing Kash did. And as far as that other reporter, by the way, I want to let you know there's a little bit of good news on the back end of this. That other reporter was Hannah Natanson. And she's the one that did the story on the Venezuelan raid. She had her stuff seized. That's a big difference. Her computer, her records, her Garmin watch, a phone, a portable hard drive, all were seized by the FBI. Well, listen to this. The line is holding. For now, the line is holding. Two separate federal judges have blocked the FBI from actually examining and breaking into all of her devices. As of yet, they have not actually searched through any of the things they seized. Two separate judges have blocked them from doing so. And just recently, she won the Pulitzer Prize for public service on awesome reporting she did over the mass firings during the Doge era. So the line is holding. She's being recognized, Natasha is, for her reporting, and her stuff hasn't been broken into yet. That's a good thing. So we've got Sarah Fitzpatrick and the Atlantic being investigated. Yep. And they're being sued. Sarah Fitzpatrick. They're being sued, and they're being investigated. And guess what? She's back. A new report came out just yesterday. The Atlantic, Sarah Fitzpatrick. You want to poke? Sarah's going to poke back. Good luck with that lawsuit. Here comes another one and another one. Oh, yeah. This report, this clown, Kash, this report. First of all, she just casually mentions at the top of this awesome reporting about the stuff that is still available on a website that Kash is involved in and gets profits from. Oh, yeah. As FBI director, he still gets profits from a website selling beanies, T-shirts, orange camo hoodies, trucker caps, government gangsta playing cards, and a Fight with Kash Punisher scarf. Now, I know what you're thinking. That should be illegal, right? That should be illegal, right? Well, yes, that should be illegal. You see, the FBI director is basically selling FBI merch. Oh, no, is that basically selling FBI merch? Okay. Just so we're clear, this website, before we get into the actual story, this website that he's selling things on, this is a misuse of your position, and it flies in the face of the emoluments clause. How the emoluments clause, Brett? That protects, from foreign influence into our politicians. I'll tell you how the emoluments clause. If someone outside of our country wants to influence our FBI director, Kash Patel, well, they could go on the website and they could make a massive purchase of his dumbass government gangster playing cards or his stupid-ass beanies and fill his pockets that way. Emoluments clause. Misuse of position. And now his next embarrassment. Sarah Fitzpatrick speaking with 8 different current and former FBI agents. She has uncovered that Kash is now handing out bottles of bourbon to anybody that gets in his orbit. Not just any bottle of bourbon. Oh, these are Kash Patel bottles of bourbon. Scotty, you want to bring that up? Yeah. Kash Patel bottles of bourbon. Oh, it's up there. Hello. Yeah, that's why you looked at me like, do your job, Brett. It's ready to go up. All right, so these bottles, here we go. Thank you, Scotty. These bottles. He's handing these out to FBI agents, other agency officials that are mingling with the FBI, and civilians. Now, it's Woodford Reserve, Kash Patel. It's got the FBI shield, Kash's branding, text of his title, the favorite spelling of his name somewhere in there. It's got the Kash with the little cha-ching, the dollar sign on it somewhere in there. It's got. Yeah, you can see it. Well, there's two different. There's a couple different ones there. It's on the other. Some of it's on the other side. Yeah. But then there's another side with an eagle and some other stuff. Patel's signature's on there. Oh yeah, he's going around and he's handing these out. These bottles of bourbon. What's even funnier is somebody got one from him and they put it up for auction and the Atlantic bought it and they started posting pictures of it. And they started posting pictures all over the place. Oh, there's his. Is that the Atlantic's picture? Yeah, there's the Atlantic's picture with his signature. Woodford Reserve there. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Number 9, and it's number 9 because he's the 9th FBI director. I think something like that. Yeah, he's the 9th FBI director. That's why it's the number 9. All right, so there's the bottle. Atlantic bought a bottle of it and then posted it all over their brand new hit piece here on Kash. So he's going around to all sorts of places. He's going to meetings. Yeah, here's some of the branding stuff. Thank you, Scotty. Check out all this merch you can pick up. Check out all this merch. There's the beanie, the shoes, the scarf, fight with Kash scarf, the pin, and there's one of the bottles right there. Oh, this guy. So he's going around to official meetings, handing them to people at official FBI meetings. Then he goes out in the public, goes to bars, whatever, and he hands them out to civilians. Unbelievable. Yeah, Scotty.
It reminds me of I don't know, when I remember growing up, my parents had friends that were cops and they get the PBA cards or they get the little badges. So if you get pulled over, you'd be like, oh, you're friends with our friends? Gotcha. It's you think you get one of those skull things?
Drunken friend of Kash pin.
About to go to jail, be like, I know the FBI director. We went out, we're drinking buddies, man.
That's right.
I get you a bottle of whiskey.
I'm drinking buddies with Kash.
I'll get you Patel Reserve, number 9.
Oh, this guy. So he's loading up FBI planes filled with this stuff, flying it around. He flew a bunch of it to Milan to the Olympics, handed it out all over the Olympics, then got caught on camera getting drunk with the Olympic team. You remember that. One of the bottles was left behind in the locker room. Then there's another story. Okay, so he's at Quantico, right? And he calls in a bunch of MMA stars because they're going to teach the FBI agents how to fight. It was a whole spectacle and an embarrassment. It was silly. So he has these MMA fighters come in this big spectacle and show the FBI agents, the burgeoning agents, how to do holds and kicks and punches and all this other stupid crap. And then somebody steals a bottle of his number 9 Woodford Reserve. Somebody at that event, one of the MMA, one of the FBI agents, one of his own security team, somebody stole a bottle of his bourbon, and he lost his mind, got on mic, threatened everybody. It was so bad. One FBI agent called it a bleep show, and a whole bunch of FBI agents ran and found legal representation because they were scared bleepless. They had no idea what to do about this. They went to one lawyer rather that works with FBI agents quite a bit. And this one lawyer said that the FBI agents have a duty to disclose any wrongdoings. But if you do that, you're screwed. And the street agents know that integrity is the most important thing for their job. Without integrity, they can't testify. And this lawyer said, I simply tell people to run from them. You see Kash coming, run the other way. Run the other way. So Ben Williamson, doing his job, comes running in behind Kash to rub the clown makeup off once again. What does Ben Williamson say? These are is a routine part of the FBI and the broader government. The bottles are a part of a tradition. It's part of a tradition started decades ago that he's just taking part in. This is what Ben Williamson said. He said, senior Bureau officials have long exchanged commemorative items and formal gifts consistent with ethic rules. Patel has been consistent with ethic rules and all applicable ethic guidelines. Well, Ben himself, when talking to The Atlantic, didn't clarify which rules exactly that Patel was sticking to, even though he states that he's sticking to these very specific rules. He couldn't tell them to The Atlantic, or wouldn't tell them. He wouldn't tell them how or when the bottles were engraved with Patel's name, or how or when anybody had been reimbursed in any way for these bottles, bribery and all. The FBI declined to provide any imagery of the bottles. They didn't want to help out at all. They just wanted to say that Patel's following all the rules. Well, Sarah herself went and talked to one former FBI director, former FBI official, rather, longtime senior FBI official, about this story. And Sarah asked this one senior former FBI official if he had personally ever seen any FBI director or senior official give out alcohol branded by them. And that senior official literally burst out laughing in Sarah's face. But I'll tell you who's not laughing. The FBI agents underneath Kash are not laughing. Okay? According to these current members of the FBI who talked to Sarah, okay? They said the director regularly hands out his own personally branded bourbon, including to civilians outside the Bureau. This is unheard of. Unheard of. They are all concerned by Patel's gifts of personalized bourbon. Why? Because the FBI has a zero-tolerance approach to any unauthorized use of alcohol on the job and any misuse of alcohol off the job. A complete zero tolerance. That's the guidelines that these FBI agents are held to and expected to follow and will be held responsible for if they should not follow them, but not Kash. Not Kash. And they are saying, quote, it's so weird. It's so uncomfortable. It's demoralizing. It's a different set of standards for Kash than it is for us. And then they went on to say, and this is beautiful, many agents worry that if the director offers you a bottle and you aren't on board on receiving it enthusiastically, you are getting polygraphed for loyalty. Well, funny you should say that. Funny you should say that, anonymous FBI agent, talking about polygraph tests coming out of Kash, which he has done before. Well, turns out, after that Atlantic reporting, we got a new round of polygraph tests out of Kash. Brand new reporting yesterday as this FBI agent saying, yeah, you got to do what Kash wants you to do or you're getting polygraphed. Everybody got polygraphed once again. Brand new reporting out of MS Now. We're going back to MS Now. And Cindy Gailey, great reporting. Kash Patel has once again gone through a fresh round of Wait till you hear this. This is so pathetic. This clown. He keeps trying to prevent leaks so he doesn't get embarrassed in front of Trump. And it's leakers who are telling us about him trying to prevent leaks.
Breaking politics, breaking narratives, breaking news. But first, we need a coffee break. Brett breaks things, where the stakes are high and the truth still matters.
Okay, so according to 4 FBI agents, Kash Patel has ordered the polygraph of more than 24 former members of his security detail and other members of his FBI staff. That's right, a brand new round. 24 FBI agents were a polygraph test from Kash over the Atlantic story, over Sarah Fitzpatrick's reporting. They all got polygraphed. And according to these FBI agents that talk to MS Now, he is in panic mode over his job. He's in panic mode. And he really, really wants to find these leakers. He really, really wants to find these leakers, according to 2 leakers. I love it. I love it. He's walled himself off from senior FBI leadership, doesn't go around any of them. He's now started to avoid meetings, won't go to anything that's not necessary. And all the FBI agents, the senior leadership is telling MS Now and telling other people, yeah, we're really worried about this because he is not apprised and abreast of like current situations. He won't have the info needed to make real, rational decisions. You know, good decision making from our FBI director. It's going to be kind of impossible if he doesn't attend the meetings. And he's not. He's not. Okay? And here comes Ben Williamson once again to wipe off the clown paint. Here he comes. You ready? He disputes the claims that the director was walled off from his senior staff. He says Patel has regularly met with his operation leaders, including 2 of his deputy directors. Quote, I've been in the usual operation leader meetings with him every day this week. It's false. The only people in panic are the panicins in the media pushing out false stories because they spend 0 time covering the record-breaking success in reductions in crime at the FBI. Thank you, Ben. And now back to our regularly scheduled reality. The FBI demanded the polygraph examinations. The FBI director, Kash Patel, demanded the polygraph examinations to determine if any of the members of the team, of anybody that accompanies him, or any travelers or staff who have access to sensitive details about his decisions have communicated with the reporters. That is who is asked, and that is what they were asked. All of his security team was pulled in, and they were asked if any of them leaked to the Atlantic on a polygraph test. Then anybody who services on a plane or meets with him in his office regularly for any reason, anybody who's around him at any time that he makes any kind of decisions, they were all pulled in for polygraph tests. That's the reality. Thanks, though. Nice try, Ben. Thanks, though. Keep wiping off that clown paint. Good job. I mean, what are you doing with your life? Honestly. Honestly. And again, this is all to keep Trump from firing him. MS Now themselves, a couple months ago, reported, Trump and his senior advisors have been regularly meeting about firing Kash Patel. They have been meeting, and as they're meeting and talking about it repeatedly, more and more stories come out about this clown. And you can add this on top of the pile. What pile? Misrepresenting the details of active shooting situations. Twice he did that. You remember the Charlie Kirk shooting, saying we've got somebody in custody? Nope, didn't have somebody in custody. But that clown got out of his clown car and went and told the whole world we did. You remember that. And the plane rides to go see his girlfriend perform. And then assigning SWAT as a security detail for his girlfriend, claiming it's crucial, absolutely crucial. She gets SWAT detail at all times. All times. Then he flies to Milan and gets drunk with the Olympic team. They have to break into his apartment because he might be dead. Nope, he's in a drunken coma. Gets drunk, getting up on top of bars, acting like a jackass at bars in Vegas and D.C. And now he's handing out bottles of bourbon with his signature and his number 9 to civilians, just out and about, while selling merch. He's going to get fired. We're going to be here for it. You think this can sustain itself for the next 3 years? Are you kidding me? He's going to be fired. He's going to be fired, and I'm going to be here for it. Just like I was here for it when Pam got fired. And Todd's not going to get the job either. Todd's not going to get the AG job, just as we're on the topic. He's not going to get the job. I'm here to tell you, you want one of those Brett Break things, predictions? Here you go. Harmeet K. Dillon. I'm changing it from Zeldin to Dillon. Dillon will be, now, I've got time to change it because Blanche is just acting. So the name's getting kicked around. Zeldin, Janine Pirro, Todd himself, and I'm saying it's going to be Harmeet K. Dillon, the current head of the Civil Rights Division of the DOJ. She's going to get the job. That's what I'm calling now. I'm amending my previous prediction. Amending it. All right. Now, we're going to go long today. We're going to go long today because we had to restart the stream. We had a problem with our camera. Had to restart the stream. We started super late, and I do apologize about that. So we're going to go way long today because I do want to get into some of these Iranian updates. This I find really, really entertaining. Just entertaining, because you just absolutely do not know who's telling the truth about whatever with this stuff. You really don't. All you can do is bring together the pieces and make your best assessment and assumptions. But we will bring together the pieces. And I told you time and again that this ceasefire is an absolute joke. It's a joke. It's not a serious thing. It's an absolute joke. Since the ceasefire began, the IMO, the International Maritime Organization, has told us that 30 different ships have been struck. 30 different ships have been struck in the Strait by Iranian forces since the ceasefire began. We've done nothing about it. Then we got into it with them a few days ago. They hit a few UAE ships, turned a couple of our ships around, right? A couple of our ships sailed through. That was a few days ago. Well, it turns out we've got brand new aggression in this ceasefire that we're not going to do a damn thing about. Oh, man, not only is this ceasefire a joke, but we are looking super meekly and weakly, Don. Meekly and weakly, buddy. This is not strong U.S. policy out of you. You see, we got into it again with Iranian forces. Yes, we did. Don calls it. Now, what happened was U.S. forces launched a strike after Iranian forces fired at 2 American warships. This just happened. Iranian forces fired on 2 U.S. warships, and we responded. During the ceasefire, while we're praying for negotiations to begin in Islamabad or possibly Geneva, because they haven't even begun, as we're praying for negotiations to begin, more hostilities that we're not going to do anything about. Don called it a trifle. Yeah. They trifled with us today. We blew them away. Trump said a deal with Iran might not happen, but it could happen any day. I believe they want a deal. I believe they want a deal more than I do. Oh, that's cute, Don. That's cute. We see the truth of it, Don. These peace negotiations are a Hail Mary thrown up by you. Hail Mary thrown up by you. You're going to act all ambivalent. Get out of here. Marco Rubio said the U.S. is expecting a response from Iran today at some point. We'll see what that response entails. The hope is something can put us into. It's something that can put us into a serious process of negotiation. I hope it's a serious offer. I really do. So, not only do we not accuse the Iranians of breaking the ceasefire, Don calls it a trifle that they fired on us, and Marco sees it. Boom, can't see it, doesn't even see it. He's talking about peace negotiations. Not even going to mention it. Not even going to mention it. All right, about this strike. Here's what we say happened. All right, we say the U.S. self-defense strikes came after destroyers Tuxton, Rafael Peralta, and the USS Mason were attacked with multiple missiles, drones, and small boats from the Iranian Navy, or whatever's left of it. Okay? We say, our CENTCOM has told us, no American vessels were hit in the attempt. We weren't hit. And we responded by striking missile and drone launch sites, command and control centers, and any positions that they might be surveilling our movements from. We struck them in response to them shooting at us unsuccessfully. That is what we say. What do the Iranians say happened? This is why I find it so funny. You ready? Iran said it had launched an operation against 3 U.S. destroyers in retaliation for 2 provocative actions by the U.S. military. Okay, so they admit, yes, we shot at them. Now, they say they shot at them for 2 reasons. The first reason they gave was a U.S. attack on an Iranian oil tanker the day before. That tracks. So far, what the Iranians are telling us tracks, because the day before, we had shot an Iranian tanker that tried to come out of our blockade. We shot at them. We destroyed their rudder. And made them immobile, and they floated back the other way. We did do that. They said, first, this attack on your destroyers was a response to that. And second, and this is interesting, the second was the 3 destroyers approached toward the Strait of Hormuz despite clear warnings. So they acknowledge 3 destroyers. Iranian forces responded with a highly extensive and precise combat operation involving a variety of weaponry, including anti-ship ballistic missiles, anti-ship cruise missiles, and drones. And they said, the Iranians said, The strikes inflicted significant damage on the American ships. Quote, every time a diplomatic solution is on the table, the U.S. opts for a reckless military adventure. So the Iranians are saying we hit them. We hit them because they hit one of our tankers just yesterday. And they sent those 3 ships into our space. Now, what Donnie says leads me to believe, I don't know. What Donnie says is much less clear than what the Iranians are saying, okay? Don says that there was no damage done to the 3 destroyers, but great damage done to the Iranian tankers, and added that numerous small boats were sunk by U.S. forces and Iranian missiles launched at destroyers were easily knocked down. Listen to this. They dropped ever so beautifully down to the ocean, very much like a butterfly dropping to its grave. Oh, isn't that profound, Edgar Allan Poe? Aren't you the wordsmith? Aren't you so eloquent? Very much like a butterfly dropping to its grave. Oh, just so eloquent, Don. But this part was really interesting. He said that the destroyers had transmitted, what did he say? Had transisted very successfully out of the strait. The 3 ships will now return to enforcing a naval blockade that the U.S. has installed to strangle the Iranian economy. Wait, what? They returned? Did they go in and turn around and come out? Why did they go in? Were they escorting somebody? Wait, what are you talking about, Don? I need details. I need clarity. Did they go in and out the other side successfully? Did they go in, complete an objective, and come back out successfully the way they had come? What are you talking about, Don? I wish you'd be as clear as the Iranians.
Breaking politics, breaking narratives, breaking news. But first, we need a coffee break. Breaking news, breaking rules, breaking through. Back to Brett Breaks Things.
Okay. So what were those 3 ships everybody's talking about? What were they doing there? I don't know for sure. We're not being told for sure. But right around the time those 3 ships were doing their little tour of the strait that Iran got so upset about, right around that same time, Iranian state media reported that the Keshim Island, the largest island in the Persian Gulf, located near the northern entrance to the strait, that Keshim Island came under attack late in the evening during a fierce exchange of fire between Iranian armed forces and enemy units. And even in that Iranian state report I just read you, they didn't say U.S. forces. They said enemy forces. Why didn't you just tell us who you were in exchange of fire with, Iran? Why are you being obtuse all of a sudden? Who are you in an exchange of fire with on Keshim Island? If it's the United States and it was these 3 tankers these 3 destroyers doing something, why didn't you say that? Also, there were some other explosions reported near another coastal city, Bandar Abbas, and some cities. They, did the air raid. Got ready for some kind of air strike, possibly from us. We don't know because the Iranians won't tell us. They won't tell us. So both sides being a little obtuse. But Don, I wish you'd give us a little details about what those 3 ships were doing there. If not Don, then CENTCOM. If not CENTCOM, then Pete. Somebody tell us where our billions of dollars of taxpayer money is floating around in the strait and why they're there. Can somebody let us know? I mean, if you conducted a mission, let us know it was successful, right? Bigly, strongly, quickly, right, Don? Let us know what bigly, strongly business they were up to. Now, these talks, this sham of a ceasefire, and then we hand a 1-page memorandum to the Iranians through Pakistan. Iran is considering it. Marcos says they'll get back to us today. If Iran agrees to the 1-page memorandum, that will begin a 30-day peace negotiation period. Well, there's a lot of skepticism. And even the Pakistani mediators, they're now, who have been pretty optimistic through this whole thing, they're now saying, look, it's getting kind of complicated. From what we're hearing from the Iranian side, yeah, they haven't given their response to your memorandum yet, Trump, and it's getting kind of complicated. Now, apparently, from the reporting given to us, Mujtaba himself is considering this memorandum, and Pezeshkian, the president of Iran, had went and met with Mujtaba about this memorandum. So the people who really make the decisions in that country are now considering it. We'll see what they say. But while they're considering it, and during this sham of a ceasefire, our allies in the Middle East are still getting shelled by Iranian missiles. They're still getting bombed, they're still getting their installations destroyed, and they're getting their ships shot at. UAE got shot at again. That makes 5 UAE ships shot at by the Iranians in about a week. In about a week's time, 5 different UAE vessels have been shot at by the Iranians during our ceasefire. And by the way, a little bit of dirty business. Apparently Iran is running around the world contacting the leaders of our allies and talking trash about us. Yeah. This time it was Macron. We don't know exactly who else he's been talking to in the EU, but we know he talked to Macron because Pezeshkian, the president, released transcripts from their conversation, and so did Macron, but they definitely presented him in a different light, each of them. This was Pezeshkian. This was the Iranian president about their phone call. Pezeshkian said that Macron called for a diplomatic solution to the war and acknowledged that measures such as a U.S. maritime blockade and Israeli attacks in Lebanon constitute violations of the ceasefire in both Iran and Lebanon. So Pezeshkian, the Iranian president, is out here saying, yeah, Macron said that the U.S.'s blockade is a violation of the ceasefire, and that what's going on in Lebanon is a violation of the ceasefire. Oh, Macron said it. And here's what Macron said. Sounds a little different. Macron said he had expressed his deep concern over the ongoing escalation and condemned the unjustified strikes against Emirati civilian infrastructure and several vessels, talking about the UAE. He said all parties must lift the blockade of the strait immediately and without conditions. Macron's saying, I told you both of you need to stop it. I said both of you need to stop it, and you specifically need to stop hitting UAE vessels. But according to some Arab officials and reporting coming out of the Middle East, Iran has been calling other people, specifically calling them, saying you need to come out publicly and say that this blockade is a violation of our ceasefire. You need to come out and publicly say that the U.S. attacked us illegally. Come on, say it. And nobody will yet, but they're trying. So, in the midst of these negotiations hopefully happening, the Trump administration hoping against hope that the Iranian supreme leadership will send Pezeshkian to the negotiating table. Not an end of the hostilities. They're just hoping we get them to the table. While that's happening, a brand new, confidential CIA analysis was delivered to administration policymakers specifically about Iran's situation economically and their ballistic missile stockpile. Oh, yes. Now, 4 people within the CIA who read the confidential CIA analysis we're talking about went and told the Washington Post about it. More leakers. This is why Pete wants to kick all of the news media, including Fox and Newsmax, out of the Pentagon. This is why Kash is polygraphing people. This is why. Leaks like this to the Washington Post from the CIA. Now, this new CIA analysis that was leaked to the Washington Post, it details not only can the Iranians survive this blockade economically much longer than you thought, much longer, but that also we didn't do nearly as much damage to their missile infrastructure as we have been told we did. Oh yeah. What did Don say about their missile capacity, their stockpile, and their ability to produce more missiles? What did Don say? Don said, quote, their missiles are mostly decimated. They have probably 19%, but not a lot by comparison to what they had. That's what Don says. What does this confidential CIA analysis say? Iran has retained about 75% of its pre-war inventory of mobile launchers and 70% of its pre-war stockpiles of missiles. And they're currently making more missiles. Any missiles that they were in the middle of making when we began striking, they finished all of those as well. They finished all of those as well. Yep. And as far as this blockade, what does Don say? Unbelievable. The Navy has been incredible. The job they did. It's like a wall of steel. Nobody gets through. A day prior, he said Iran's economy is crashing, its currency is worthless, and it can't pay for its troops. What does Scott Bessent? Scott Bessent say, our Secretary of Treasury? Scott called it economic fury, causing permanent damage to Iran's oil infrastructure. What does the classified CIA analysis of the situation say? Well, it says, quote, Iran's capacity to endure prolonged economic hardship is far greater than even the CIA had previously estimated. Quote, the leadership has gotten more radical, determined, and increasingly confident that they can outlast U.S. political will and sustain domestic repression to check any resistance inside Iran. Comparatively, you see similar regimes lasting years under sustained embargoes and air power-only wars. The CIA analysis is saying quite simply, if you don't put boots on the ground, this will last for months. How long do they think? We're talking 3-4 months, maybe longer. They estimate that the Iranians can withstand this particular blockade, this economic pressure, not allowing their Iranian tankers with their oil out of the strait to go sell their product. Apparently, they can do this for months. For months. And this is something I thought to myself. I never said it on the show, but I thought it to myself a few times. Actually, yesterday, while I was in the car, I thought this to myself. What if Iran is moving their oil across land? What good is a blockade if they just move it north or west? Well, apparently they are. They're moving trucks. Now, truckloads of oil is a lot less efficient and a lot slower than giant tankers full of oil floating through the strait, no doubt. But apparently they've begun moving truckloads of oil across Central Asia and to their buyers. If that gets more efficient, more streamlined, and continues to work without any impediment, well, that could really ease the tension too. And it's that type of crap right there that our CIA is saying we don't really know how long they can last. Let's see how successful their efforts to move their oil across land is. And then we'll let you know then. Can they get millions of barrels through land sold, in a month or whatever? I don't know what the timeline is, but if it works for the Iranians, this could be a long time they could hold out. A long time. Now, I'm going to quickly get to some other stuff. Move on from Iran. I'm just going to keep it moving. A longer show because we started late. Because I got to bring you some bad news. And there's no other way around it. I got to finish with some bad news. Tennessee has approved new maps. I told you they were going to try. At the time of the reporting, just after the Supreme Court gutted the Voting Rights Act, gutted Section 2, eradicated the majority-minority districts. Right after that decision, Tennessee said, we're going back. We're going back in session. A lot of states did. A lot of red states did. They said, we're going back in session right now, and we're going to draw some new maps. And at the time of the reporting, I told you they can try, but they're not going to be able to get Memphis. They're not going to be able to get Memphis. It's going to stay a blue seat. Well, they drew new maps, and they might have got Memphis. These maps dice up the Memphis area. Memphis and Shelby County got diced up, chopped up. Memphis into 3 separate districts. Shelby County into 3 separate districts. They blasted the seat apart. The seat that used to be held by Steve Cohen, blasted apart. And now he's going to be up. And all of these blue voters will go into districts that will be diluted, into districts that can absorb the blow of a bunch of blue Memphis voters that are no longer voting for their rep. They're all broken up now, divided up, and they're going to try to unseat red reps around them. Good luck. And the red voters in the Memphis area, they got consolidated to Andy Ogle's district, and they expect that will shore up the seat of Andy Ogles, who is going to be, hotly contested by a Democrat there. And they're kind of worried about that race. So when they divided up Memphis, whatever was red around that area got shoved into Andy Ogle's district, and that'll boost his votes and shore up his chances. Oh, they're sneaky. They're sneaky. Now, some people, there were theatrics surrounding this whole thing. Surrounding the whole thing. Protesters, chaos. The MAGA Republicans in the Tennessee state legislature, they came in trolling. Yeah, triggering the libs. Check out this jackass. Wearing a Trump cape. He comes in wearing a Trump cape wrapped around him. Okay, there it is. So you can hear him chanting, and then here comes, boom. Look at this guy, triggering the libs. Oh, good job. I had his name. He's getting shouted at, getting called a racist. He's got this Trump. It says Trump no more bull bleep on it. Trump no more bull bleep. And then he runs into a black security guard who's like, dude, you got to take that off. I find that poetic. So this black security guard comes up to him and says, yeah, bro, you gotta take that off. I'll take that. And then he takes it, crumples it right up, tosses it. My man just dismissively takes it off of him, crumples it up into a ball, and tosses it to the side. My man. Okay, so there were more theatrics, but there Justin Pearson, we've played stuff from him before, a Tennessee rep. State rep. He spoke before the final vote. I want you to hear what Justin Pearson said before the final vote to approve the new, completely gerrymandered Tennessee maps.
Minutes.
These maps are racist tools of white supremacy at the behest of the most powerful white supremacist in the United States of America, Donald J. Trump. Memphis is the most beautiful place on the planet. It's the place that raised me, my brothers, my parents, my grandmothers, and where my ancestors' bones rest. And what you are doing today is eviscerating the only black majority congressional district in our state because we are majority black. We are here because this Republican Party has to seek to steal elections and seats, because the president and the party have refused to address the pain, the suffering, and the struggling of everyday Tennesseans. This is about attacking, targeting, and cracking District 9 into pieces for more political and racial dominance and white supremacy in the state of Tennessee. And we need to realize that the Calais decision that you all are basing your decisions off of, that gutted the Voting Rights Act, that Voting Rights Act was paid in blood. It was not just a parchment of paper signed into law. It was paid in blood on the Edmund Pettus Bridge. Paid in blood by Medgar Evers, paid in blood by Fannie Lou Hamer. It's been paid in blood year over year, time after time, assassination after assassination, lynching after lynching, so that more people might be able to ascertain access to this constitutional democratic republic experiment that is currently being gutted and seeking to be gutted by this chamber, by this House, this Senate, and this state.
Wow. Okay, Justin. And I agree with you. I agree with you. I'm not quite as inflammatory as you are. I mean, geez. I mean, he's been kicked out before. He's been expelled from the floor before. They do not like him in the Tennessee state legislature. He is public enemy number one. And Justin Jones, his counterpart, or rather his contemporary and fellow Democrat from Tennessee, Justin Jones, he's public enemy number two. So strong words out of Justin Pearson there. And here are the protests as the vote became official.
Let
Memphis go. Whoa, whoa. I gotta bring that down. That is quite a protest. Okay, so that, and yeah, that was loud, that drowned out the final tally of the vote. That was what they were doing when they were calling out the final tally that the map has been approved. That was what was going on. And then Justin Pearson got into a little scuffle outside the State House. State trooper puts his hands on him. Starts pushing him. Ooh.
What is wrong with you? What is wrong with you?
He is shouting that to the trooper who put his hands on him and tried to push him out the door. Not having it. Not having it. And then Justin Jones burns the Confederate flag just outside the chamber. Public enemy number 2, Justin Jones burning the Confederate flag. But, you know, all of that protesting aside, this is a loss. We are taking big losses in this gerrymandering war that we decided to go and engage on. This fight fire with fire tactic. Well, guess what? Their fire appears to be larger at this point. I'll tell you why. One, the Supreme Court has fast-tracked their opinion, their decision on Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act. They fast-tracked it to the lower courts so Alabama can get going with their new maps. That's right. Or Louisiana. Did I say Alabama? Louisiana. Louisiana wants to draw new maps right now. And it was going to take a little bit of time because they had to wait for the Supreme Court's decision to make it down to the lower courts. Now, normally, in a non-weaponized Supreme Court, the Supreme Court clerk takes 32 days to issue its court decision down to the lower courts. 32 days. That 32 days is awarded to whoever lost the decision to plead to the court, go to them and ask them to reconsider, whatever pleas, whatever lawsuit you want to engage in. There's 32 days that is normally taken before the Supreme Court's decision goes down to the lower courts to implement the decision. They fast-tracked it. Boom. Right now, Louisiana, go redraw your maps right now. Not 32 days. It took them 3. So Louisiana can get about the business of gerrymandering the last 2 remaining blue districts in Louisiana off the map. They're going to be 6-0 Republican after they're done with it. Make no mistake about it. Tennessee's going to be 4-0. 4 Republicans, no Democrats. Louisiana's going to be 6 Republicans, no Democrats. They're going to gerrymander the hell out of already gerrymandered states. An unprecedented move out of the Supreme Court to do this for Louisiana, for the Republicans in Louisiana to redraw their maps right away, just in time for the midterms. More bad news. And this one really pisses me off. Everybody just reported that Virginia had put forth a measure to the people, popular vote to the people of Virginia. Should we redraw maps right now in an attempt to stiff arm and hold back the efforts of the Republicans across the country to gerrymander their maps and gain more seats? They asked the Democratic lawmakers in Virginia, asked the people, do you want to redraw your maps to even the playing field a little bit? And the Democratic voters, all the voters in Virginia said, yes, we want to do this. We want to redraw our maps. We want to pick up a district or two, too. They were actually going to pick up 4 in Virginia because of this. They were going to pick up 4. Well, guess what? The Virginia Supreme Court struck down their new maps, struck down the 4 seats we were going to pick up. That's right. The Virginia Supreme Court struck down the maps and gave their opinion. And just because I know you're asking right now, I can hear your brains working. It's 4 Republicans and 3 Democrats on the Virginia Supreme Court, and the decision was made 4-3. Guess who decided what? And the 4-3 decision, the majority wrote, quote, and this is why it pisses me off so much. Listen to what the majority wrote about this 4-3 decision. Listen to this. Democratic legislators had put a constitutional amendment to allow for a new map before voters in an unprecedented manner that violated the state's constitution, adding, this violation irreparably undermines the integrity of the resulting referendum vote and renders it null and void. Okay. So the Virginia Supreme Court overturned the new Virginia maps that would have picked up 4 seats for the Democrats. And they overturned that map, saying it was an unprecedented manner in which they presented the option to the people. Unprecedented. What Virginia did is not unprecedented. Democratic reps doing the will of their voters, that's not unprecedented. That's America. That's America. What is unprecedented is a devastating flood in Texas, killing dozens of people, injuring hundreds, being the reason the Texas legislature calls a special session, and then when that special session begins, they crowbar mid-census redistricting in that special session to deal with a statewide crisis. They didn't deal with the crisis. They went ahead with gerrymandering instead. That's unprecedented. Unprecedented is the Supreme Court kicking the can down the road on this voting rights decision, saying they want to reschedule arguments, delays, and then at one point moving the goalpost entirely, saying we have to reconsider the broader question at hand and we'll do it later on. They kicked the can for a year, and when they finally made this decision to gut Section 2, it was just in time for the Republicans to gerrymander the hell out of their states, which are already heavily gerrymandered, just in time for the midterm elections. Not enough time for Democrats to challenge this decision, but enough time for the Republicans to remake their maps in time for the elections. That is unprecedented. And it is unprecedented for the Supreme Court to fast track their 32-day period for the court clerk to hand down their decision to the lower courts in a few days. A period of time that's usually 32 days to give time for a challenge and a plea to the court, cut down to 3 days so Louisiana can fast track their new gerrymandered maps. That is unprecedented. The last time we talked about this gerrymandering race, I included those 4 districts being picked up in Virginia. And I came out with even math. Remember? Even math. What the Republicans are going to pick up and what the Democrats are going to pick up with both sides' gerrymandering efforts. That math is getting blown out of the water. That math I did then is now decimated. The majority-minority districts in the red states are going goodbye. And the red states right now are on a gerrymandering crusade to do way more damage to blue districts than we ever thought possible. And multiple red states are absolutely eliminating any blue presence in their state going to the House of Representatives. We are losing the gerrymandering war. So the question is, which is going to be more impactful? The Republicans' seemingly successful gerrymandering operation, or the deep, profound, record-breaking unpopularity of Donald Trump and his war and his tariffs and his immigration policy and the fact that it's impossible to support a family in this country right now? Which is going to be more impactful come November? I will see you kids Monday. Thanks for hanging out late.